very good chance that your new Toyota hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or electric vehicle.
Toyota's massive battery manufacturing project in North Carolina, a nearly $14 billion investment expected to generate more than 5,000 jobs, was once seen as a cornerstone of America's electric vehicle future. Located near Liberty at the Greensboro-Randolph megasite, the facility is now only weeks away from shipping its first batteries. On the surface, it appears to be a clear sign of Toyota's long-term commitment to U.S. manufacturing. But behind the scenes, a very different story has been unfolding, one that points north. Before we go deeper into this developing situation, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Your support helps bring clarity to the major economic and industrial shifts shaping North America. Toyota's recent moves toward Canada did not resemble a traditional corporate adjustment. There were no dramatic press releases or abrupt announcements. Instead, the shift emerged through a series of subtle but telling signals, suggesting that a company deeply embedded in the American industrial system was reassessing its long-term strategy. The catalyst was pressure that escalated rapidly. U.S. tariffs introduced in recent years placed close to $800 billion in potential exposure across global supply chains. For Toyota, this forced a comprehensive reassessment of costs, sourcing, and future investment. Financial forecasts soon reflected the strain, with projections indicating a possible 21% profit decline by 2025. Losses tied to tariff policies exceeded $1 billion, compounded by currency volatility and rising raw material prices. At the same time, Toyota's production footprint magnified the risk. Millions of vehicles are manufactured in Japan each year, with hundreds of thousands shipped to the United States. As trade friction intensified, concerns spread quickly among American workers, state governments, and local officials. Questions surfaced about whether Toyota was slowly redirecting its focus toward Ontario and Quebec while maintaining access to the U.S. market. Toyota Canada responded with carefully measured statements, emphasizing stability, long-term planning, and resilience beyond short-term political cycles. The tone suggested something larger than a temporary hedge, a structural shift with the potential to reshape the balance of electric vehicle manufacturing across North America. So what is really driving this move north? Tariffs alone do not explain the full picture. The deeper issue lies in the broader environment facing large manufacturers in the United States. Operating costs have risen steadily, while policy frameworks have shifted frequently and unpredictably. For a company that plans decades ahead, fluctuating tariffs, inconsistent incentives, currency pressure, and fragmented regulatory standards introduced layers of uncertainty that made long-term investment increasingly complex. Projects once considered central to Toyota's U.S. future began to face delays. Electric vehicle production timelines in Kentucky were pushed back to mid-2026, disrupting workforce planning and supplier coordination. Other programs raised concerns about compliance costs tied to cross-border manufacturing rules. Decisions that were once guided by efficiency and demand increasingly revolved around navigating trade policy and incentive eligibility. The challenges were even more pronounced in the electric vehicle supply chain. EV manufacturing depends on reliable access to critical minerals, refined materials, and clear regulatory pathways. While the United States possesses significant mineral resources, it lacks sufficient domestic refining capacity to support large-scale EV production. Canada, by contrast, offers both mineral abundance and the ability to process those materials domestically. Major refining projects, including cobalt processing facilities, have positioned Canada as a secure and compliant source for battery materials. These capabilities align directly with the requirements of U.S. legislation governing EV tax credits, giving manufacturers a compliant pathway without the operational uncertainty present south of the border. Ontario and Quebec have rapidly expanded battery cell and component manufacturing, strategically located near major U.S. automotive hubs in Michigan and Ohio. This proximity reduces transportation costs, streamlines logistics, and allows manufacturers like Toyota to integrate operations across borders while minimizing exposure to tariff volatility. Additional funding mechanisms tied to North American industrial security have further strengthened Canada's refining and processing sectors. The result is an ecosystem that offers predictability, policy alignment, and end-to-end supply chain support, three elements critical to long-term EV investment. Toyota's response was gradual but decisive. Investment and collaboration in Ontario and Quebec increased, forming an emerging EV corridor that delivers regulatory clarity and operational stability. This corridor allows Toyota to stay closely connected to U.S. assembly operations while insulating key components of its supply chain from sudden policy shifts. The momentum accelerated as other automakers followed similar paths. Large EV investments by Honda and General Motors reinforced Canada's position as a growing manufacturing cluster. Each new facility strengthened the region's appeal, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of investment and infrastructure growth. As Canada's EV ecosystem expanded, political concern intensified in the United States. What began as a supply chain adjustment quickly became a strategic issue. Lawmakers questioned whether American incentives were inadvertently pushing investment north while still granting access to the U.S. market. States that invested heavily in training programs and infrastructure began to wonder whether expected returns would materialize. The broader implication is difficult to ignore. While the United States aims to lead the EV transition, its policy landscape has encouraged manufacturers to diversify operations toward regions offering clearer, long-term signals. Toyota's shift illustrates a fundamental reality of modern manufacturing. Incentives and stability shape outcomes more than rhetoric. Ontario and Quebec now stand as pillars of a new continental EV supply chain, offering minerals, refining capacity, skilled labor, and reliable transportation networks. As more companies commit to the region, its strategic importance continues to grow. For Toyota, the benefits are tangible. Each Canadian investment reduces exposure to supply disruptions, lowers compliance risk, and enables multi-billion-dollar planning with greater confidence. The move is not symbolic. It is structural, rooted in long-term risk management rather than short-term politics. This realignment highlights a broader truth about global supply chains. They are shaped by policy consistency, infrastructure readiness, and resource integration. Canada currently offers a more complete package for EV manufacturing than the United States has been able to deliver at scale. For the U.S., the questions ahead are significant. Can domestic refining capacity expand quickly enough? Can incentive structures provide lasting certainty? And can policy stability be restored before more manufacturers follow the same path? The answers to those questions will determine how the next decade of automotive competition unfolds across North America. If this breakdown helped you understand the real forces behind Toyota's decision, subscribe and leave a like. Staying informed matters as the future of the auto industry is being reshaped in real time.